Welcome back, old bull, young buck. I am the soon-to-be unemployed David Mundy, and with me
Hi, Dave.
is my little mate, Griffin Logue. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. I'm good. I'm a bit grumpy off the track. It was wet and rainy and a bit of hail, actually. But other than that, I'm good. More importantly, mate, how are you?
I'm very well, yeah. Yeah, it was a bit wet and windy. It's Wednesday morning we're filming.
Frail old man as well.
Yeah, so I haven't been hailed on too many times, actually, in my tenure at Fremantle, and today was one of them. So very memorable.
Hailed on and wailed on plenty of times, mate. So new experiences for you, even in your illustrious 19-year career.
How did you handle the wind tunnel at his Coburn?
Terrible, mate. I think it's something to do with left. I was talking to left footers out there. We must have like terribly high ball drops, or I don't know. You just can't hit the side of a barn with a handful of rice if you're a left footer out there in the wet and the rain, and the wind. So, any
particular incident that you're going to have to mentally overcome before the game day?
No, doesn't matter. We play Marvel inside in a stadium, roof on. So
beautiful.
Just, it's in the past now, mate. Put it in the bank.
Now on last week's pod, we had Hayden Ballantyne, the small man. He certainly hasn't lost his passion. What did you take out of that?
Yeah, obviously he's small, but no, he's a great fella and gave us heaps. And I think Lukey Ryan's still waiting on his meat, so let's get onto it, mate. But no, as you said, very passionate and just a docker through and through, and someone that I certainly enjoyed. I think 2 or 3 years with him playing with, but I reckon during his heyday. It would have been awesome to play with. I'm sure you could.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's one of those teammates you absolutely loved to have on your team, and an opponent that you would hate to play against.
Bit of small man syndrome. Do you reckon you could take him?
No.
Pretty strong, yeah.
Yeah, amazingly strong.
I think a bit of a nutter as well.
Yeah, and has that crazy edge.
Some people have that look in their eyes. I reckon when I first got to the club, you just kind of know, like.
He'll take it too far.
He probably. He pull stumps there. But
anyway, we have a run sheet as long as a novel. So do you want to introduce our guest so we can get cracking?
I do. I'd love to. So this bloke, I'm pretty sure I sat on his shoulders in 2015 in an Alco Cup game, I believe, or I'll claim it anyway. But no, we've played a little bit of footy together in the 18s, come up through the great, strong PSA competition, stronger than the TAC Cup, as we all know. And anyway, without further ado, the best left foot snap in the comp. Banners, welcome.
G'day guys, thanks for having me.
How you going? You all right?
Yeah, going well.
Enjoying the cold weather?
Nah, broom boys, cold weather, no good.
We're going to touch on the broom, but before we get into Banners, sorry just to leave you in the dark again. We're probably remiss of me not to mention you, Barra. Obviously, a massive week retiring. How are you feeling? Like, what's your first kind of
Oh, we're talking about my retirement? I thought we were going to talk about my haircut. That's the other big change since the pod last week. But
that's a shit gag. That is a shit gag. Did you rehearse that one? That's so bad.
Britt said it would be a good idea. Clearly it was a huge day on Monday for my family and I, and obviously the football club and our fans. So from a personal point of view, it was really nice to kind of get it out of the way and have a day and a half, I guess, to be celebrated before we can dial into this week.
Yeah, right. And what about Talent Players Group was pretty... we went around the group and kind of thought we're going to get a kind of long, nice, well-articulated kind of speech that we'd be expecting from you, and it was kind of short, sharp, and it was just back to business for you. And I think that kind of sums you up as a bloke and a player. Though it's not really never been about you, but I think it's I don't want to blow too much smoke up. You know
we'll
what?
Keep going, yeah.
Don't want to blow too much smoke up. You know what? But mate, it's been an awesome career to kind of follow. And how did it come about anyway? Retirement and what other things came? Obviously, being 47, would have to. Play into it, or?
Yeah, so entering retirement age for general population is certainly a part of that. I've been on 1-year contracts for a lifetime, and Bannis has been on 1-year contracts as well. And
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so who would know that it's life on the edge? And obviously, so those kind of thoughts linger and start coming into play, particularly during that time we were having a new coach and all that kind of stuff with Justin coming in and a refresh of our playing group. But they really started, the voices in the back of my head started talking. I'd destroyed my ankle out here before Christmas. And at the time thought I'd seriously hurt my syndesmosis again. And so I was thinking at that time, if I've done that, it's probably most of the season done. And I was 36 at the time. The 36-year-olds don't spend a whole year out and come back the next year. So kind of that started the thought process. Ankle turned out to be not that bad. But I guess that little seed started to germinate and we started to talk about it. And something Sal and I have been weighing up really seriously all year. And obviously we came to the conclusion that it's time to move on and let you take over.
Yep. Well, you've it's in very safe hands, isn't it? Crikey. I think just a question I've got for you.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of, when they're asked who they look up to around the club, everyone kind of looks up to you, and people get to learn off you. Who was someone that you got to learn off from an early age, or like whether it was early junior footy or when you got to the club?
So the main guys that I think about when I first came into the club are guys like Peter Bell, Matthew Pavlich, obviously the really big names, but other guys like Sean McManus and Troy Cook, Shane Parker, Luke McFarlane, Robbie Hadrill at the time. They played a really big part. A lot of those are backline guys. It's where I cut my teeth. And I remember, learning a lot off those guys. Paul Hasleby was another one when I was transitioning up into the midfield. I shadowed him for a pre-season one day, not so much for run and physical attributes, but just how he went about his work in the midfield, trying to get a bit of his midfield nous and learn from him as much as I could. So, there are different guys along the way.
For all undersized backmen out there and aspiring midfielders, how do you make that transition to become a midfielder?
Yeah, you ready to write some notes down?
I've got this pod could go very long.
Boy, dreams are made.
So that was under the Mark Harvey era. My understanding is that he wanted me utilised more in the game. I was at a halfback at that stage and started to get the Bailey Banfield, how he cut his teeth as a forward defensive forward role on me a bit. And obviously one of my strengths has always been kicking and my ball use and stuff. So I wanted to get that
if
a bit.
You don't say so yourself.
Yeah, further up the field and into the forward line. So big guys like yourself could take marks and kick goals. So I think that was the origin of it. Certainly didn't fall into place immediately in 2007 and 8 and 9. I was kind of feeling my way through it. But obviously by 2010, had a fairly firm grip on it and formed a pretty good relationship with Mickey Barlow at the time, and Aaron was in there, Anthony Morabito coming through, Nathan Fife obviously starting up, guys like that. So it was, it was good fun.
Yeah, well, I think you definitely took it with both hands, mate. I don't know the full stats or whatever it is, the accolades that you've gone through, but nearly 400 games or whatever, and be looking forward to 6 more wins in a row with you, and we'll tie it off there, champ.
That'd be good, yeah.
That sounds good. But it's probably as much as talking about you as you could handle, I reckon.
Yeah,
so
let's move on.
We're gonna have to wrap it up there. We've let a man in the cold here for a freezing cold anyway. But we might just touch on retro round as well before we. Did you want to just knock around that little reflection of that?
Yeah, clearly a really poor game.
Yeah,
it was nice to finish my collection. Ben Cameron messaged me during the week last week.
I did see that. Did you see that?
Yeah,
all 32 jumpers.
That's an awesome stat.
Do you have them all at home? Would you?
No, I don't have them all.
Yeah.
Missing the East Fremantle and
that
I reckon
it?
the South
Missing a
Fremantle
couple?
and a couple of other of the special ones. But yeah, Benny Cameron from the ABC messaged me during the week before he released his thing. I was like, "Are you aware?" I was like, "Oh no, I didn't. That's pretty cool." And then
are we putting a call out on the pod to anyone who's
I'd
got some lying around?
I'd love to. Yeah, yeah.
You get the full collection.
Well, I've got quite a few at home, so I'll have to lay them out and figure out which ones, I guess. But it's a cool little stat.
It is good. Obviously, the reigning premier is kind of too good for us, boys. What was your take on that?
Yeah, they jumped out into the game really well, didn't they? Punched in the face a bit.
Yeah, they came in hot, and they would have been pretty filthy. We touched them up last time we played on their deck, so they were pretty keen to come over, do the same on ours. I don't think we matched them in the contest and with that intensity. But another lesson learnt, I reckon.
As the go-to fashionista of this threesome, what was the what was your take on the 3D anchor kit?
Oh no, he wasn't talking to you.
I do.
Certainly not talking to yourself. I'm not Daniel Patrick wearing myself, but I loved it. I reckon the kit's great. We should I'd be happy to put my hand up and say it should be retro around every week just to knock about it. I reckon it's fantastic.
So we had a similar response with last year's one, the mostly green kit.
That's wicked as well.
Yeah, but if you had to choose,
probably the most recent one, the 3D one, 3D anchor, pretty cool.
I would have said the green one.
Yeah,
I reckon that was
fashionista. It's probably sums it up.
We'll go with you.
It's all right. All right, enough of the retro round. Let's dive into like the Divers Tavern does up at Broome, because you touched on Broome before, mate. Broome boy, grew up there. Talk us about that.
Yeah, born and bred. We've got the family business up there, Willie Creek. So, mum and dad met up there 25, 30 years odd ago. So me, my brother and sister were all raised there. Great place to grow up, just running around on the beach all day with your mates. Went to primary school there.
Raised in the Divers Tavern, or
No.
Primary school.
No, at primary school.
Yep.
Broome Primary.
Great tavern.
I know Griff's been up a couple of times in the off season. So, and then came down to Scotch to board for year 8 and 9, and then Mum and Dad moved up down to Perth soon after. It was down in Perth for a little bit as well.
Did your parents own Willie Creek before you were born, or was that part of your
Yeah,
transition?
since 94, 95, I think.
What were some of your first jobs on the Willie Creek Peel Farm?
Didn't do a heap when we were younger. I think Dad just wanted to keep us out of the way, as it's a tourist business and customer is king, and the three of us running around getting in people's way and fighting and screaming would have been no good for business, I don't reckon. And then when I was a little bit older, I did some work on the website and just writing some content and some stories for Willie Creek, but yeah, not a massive amount.
Probably put you on the spot here, but obviously working up there in Willie Creek would have been a great experience. Any other kind of good experiences growing up in beautiful part of the world, Broome?
Probably the one that I look back really fondly on is we used to just park up at the beach. We had a really good group of family friends. So there'd be 5 to 10 families, depending who was free or who was doing what. And you just park up on the beach. Everyone would bring their camping chairs out, make a big circle. All us kids were all similar ages, from ranging from, there was probably about 8 or 9 years between us, but every age group had 2 or 3 kids in it. We just run around on the beach and doing whatever you want, pretty much. And all the parents would sit around having a drink or bring a barbie down and cook up a feed. And you just sort of spend the whole day just running around, cruising with all your mates. And parents were happy. We all sort of looked after each other, and everyone sort of had half an eye out, but everyone was pretty relaxed. And
Having been down in Perth now for a little while, when you make your way back up there in a wet season, if you have recently, I'm not sure if you have, but how do you find adjusting back to the wet season weather conditions?
Yeah, it's tough. So I go back in the off season every year for a couple of weeks, see what family up there. So it was great to go back and see them. And with our off season, October, November, October you're normally okay. The weather's still pretty good. November the weather's turned to rubbish. It's hot, it's humid. So a couple of times I've got it right, and there's a little bit of leeway. There's a couple of weeks in between where it could go either way. And that tends to be the time when I can make it up. So a couple of times I've got it right and had beautiful weather, 25, sunny, not a cloud in the sky, beautiful. And then a couple of years I've gone up a week too late and it's 35, it's 90% humidity, clouds are looming, and it's shocking.
It's good
Mozzies.
part. Now this time's pretty good, isn't it?
Oh, this time's beautiful.
Good,
yeah. Perth, middle of
Always
Perth
miss out on
winter. We're running around in the hail and the rain out there, and sunning up in Broome on the beach is pretty nice this time of year.
It's a bit hard to get up there for us this time of year, but
Yeah.
you mentioned you came down to Perth and boarded at Scotch and ran around with their PSA side. Any truth to the hanger story?
There was a hanger. I'm not sure it was on me, but I had a front row seat, and it was to win. He probably downplayed it, to be honest.
Whoa, hang on.
It was a day like today, wet, windy. He's taken an absolute screamer with 2 minutes to go. They needed to win the cup. He's looking pretty happy with himself at the moment.
Right, everyone just listen. He's up, boys.
They needed the win to win the cup. He's taken a hanger on 50, just gone back, kicked the set shot to put him up by 2 points or something in the wet mud. Gone back, kicked truly, and they ended up winning the cup that year.
Hang
So
on.
Yep.
it was
Anything to add?
it was pretty high.
I couldn't have said it better myself, yeah. But it was an angle as well. It was right on far angle, kicked from the junction, but
Is that right?
further from the junction because obviously it was marked it on 50. But
Look for a handball first.
always do, yep. back in the old days I didn't, but I do now.
And then so through PSA footy and coming into your draft year, you obviously missed out on your draft year. Do you want to talk us through kind of that process and I guess how you responded to that?
Yeah, I probably didn't even realise, to be honest, that getting drafted was a possibility until I was 17, 18. It was something that I always thought, that'd be pretty awesome, but never really saw the pathway for myself. First person in my family sort of playing. Dad played Colts and stuff, but didn't really have any mates that had gone through the process or that sort of thing. So I didn't really think that I was good enough or that it was a chance. And then Colts here, started playing some good footy, and I thought, why not me? I'm I'm playing pretty good footy here. Got picked for the state team, and then missed out on the first couple of state games. Didn't get selected, and that probably put a bit of a damper on it. And I sort of went back to thinking, I'm probably no shot here, because as you know, they put a fair bit of weight on the state games. You got to play
Put so much weight on it, don't they?
Yeah.
Looking back, it's like
for 4 games we're playing with blokes you've never met or like you hardly know.
nah.
Who were some of the names from that year that got drafted that potentially were keeping you out of the state side at the time?
The blokes keeping me out didn't get drafted, but it was like Griff,
Bolt,
Powell Pepper, Shea Bolton,
Bakes, Liam
Matt
Baker,
Guelphy, Liam Baker,
Zachy Fish.
Zach Fish. Yeah, we had a good team.
Yeah.
Great team.
Yeah.
We got pumped anyway, but
Yeah, we didn't do much.
no.
Cam Zerha.
Oh yeah.
Full of late bloomers then,
Yeah.
maybe, yeah.
A lot of rookie picks and Griff. Yeah, so didn't play much state footy. And then at the back end of the year, played a couple of games of league and went pretty well on debut.
What does pretty well look like?
I
Midfield as well. Played midfield.
Yeah,
Yeah.
had 24 on a wing against East Freo, won by 100 points.
Cheers.
So I was like, league footy's pretty easy. This is great. Then the next week, they sent me to tag Rory O'Brien against Peel. And
He is a ball magnet, mate.
Yeah.
Little Rory O'Brien is an absolute gun. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone ever says. Everyone always used to say he's too small, mate. He just gets so much footy.
And you look at him and you don't think too
No
much of
way.
him.
Yeah.
But he's hard as nails. And he, at that point of his career, he was the most experienced bloke out there as well. That was a Peel team that won the flag that year. They were pretty good. So I got touched up a little bit and went, okay, maybe league footy's a little bit harder than I thought. And then went back, won a flag with Claremont in the Colts, which was pretty great. And sort of went into the draft with
Smashed me, actually. I played that game. Colts.
that was back to back for us, which was pretty good.
Got walloped
Yeah, 10, 15 goals. We were pretty good.
in the first half.
What did you do, Diego?
What I'm doing now, rucking forward. Didn't work.
Not many inside 50s that day for you.
Yeah, nice.
Didn't come into it with many expectations. Thought maybe rookie draft. And then, national draft came and went. Didn't get the call from anyone. Manager was not talking to me, so I was like, okay,
Right.
probably not then.
Did you attend any state combines or anything?
State combine,
Yeah.
yeah. Put some good numbers up, but I don't think anyone looks at the state combine numbers. So, and then the rookie draft came, and you guys were both early draft picks, but rookie draft, you're sitting on the laptop. I think Switter was talking about it earlier. Sitting on the laptop, just pressing refresh. And I didn't want, girlfriend at the time, didn't want any friends, or just had, just mum, dad, and me in the room pretty much, brother, sister. Just click and refresh. And there were a couple of clubs that I'd chatted to. So I thought, maybe. And then sort of that came and went, and I was pretty devastated. That was 2:00 it's the longest day ever.
Yeah.
It's 2:00 on what would have been a Friday, Saturday morning,
Or a
Arvo
Wednesday,
or something.
really.
Yeah.
Wednesday, Arvo or something.
Yeah.
Hump day. Cheers.
Yeah. And you're just literally waiting around all day for this rookie draft. Just goes forever, and then you're waiting, and each club takes 5-10 minutes to make their pick, and you just
Might get a little pass in between there.
Yeah.
Pass, you go,
and you,
jeez.
you're like, oh no, the picks are running out.
Oh.
What's going on? You're reading all the draft guides and the power rankings and whatever beforehand. So that came and went, and that was finished at about 4:00. And I had training at Claremont at about 5. So I sort of sat there and I was really disappointed. Had a cry to myself, sort of kicked all the family out and just wanted some time to myself. I was really disappointed, and just sort of sat there stewing for probably only 10, 20 minutes, to be honest. Got my sort of emotions out, had my little cry, and then was like, now I got to go to training. So I got up, put all my kit on, and then that's a shocking training session. You rock up, everyone's knows that you're a sniff, but you didn't get picked up. So everyone's sort of asking, how you going? And I just didn't really want to talk to anyone about it. So good. Yeah, I'm all good.
Keep walking, don't stop.
Yeah, exactly. And you have that conversation about 30, 40 times with different blokes. So that was pre-season training at that point. But that was probably the best thing for me, to be honest. Get up, get moving, see a bunch of people, tell them you're all right, and you fake it till you make it, and you start feeling a bit better, and then you actually go out on the track and run around and blow some steam out. So it didn't work for me that year, but sort of.
I guess, but off the back of that, as you touched on, it would have been a tough year, but then you clearly built into a real strong year in the league, and talk us through that, how you kind of ran through and what you won the BNF at Claremont, and probably stiffed it not win the Sandover as well. Probably is an understatement. Like I probably didn't kick the winner against Scotch, but obviously a massive year. And then after that, are you kind of a few more meetings, or is it kind of like getting a bit more likely that you're probably going to get drafted after that, or what's the go?
Yeah, Sandover's probably a bit of a stretch that year. I was still just an 18-year-old kid. But yeah, the coaches sort of backed me in. Jeff Valentine was one of our assistant coaches, and Darren Harris. He had a massive impact on my footy career. Yeah, he was great. So he was our head coach, and he pretty much just put me in the guts from round one and was like, "Do your thing, go to work." So I played a full year in the midfield, like started every game, and just sort of did my thing. Found a bit of footy, and just built my confidence over the year. Just figuring out what league footy was, and got backed in during that process by the coaches, which was great. Picked up a couple of votes from them, obviously, as well along the way, which was nice. And to be honest,
Joff, fella.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have got picked up if I didn't actually win the BNF, because it's a nice little dot point on your resume and probably doesn't mean much. But it's definitely something nice to hang your hat on.
It does mean something, mate. It doesn't mean much.
I mean, like in terms of what your year actually looked like, whether or not you win it, you still played the same footy, and it meant a massive amount to me. That night was one of the best nights of my life. Sitting there, I was so nervous. Like, I think I had the state combine in the next day or two, so I wasn't allowed to drink. So I was just like, I was nervous energy. All the boys on my table around me, I was sitting with a few of the younger boys who were my good mates, and they were all just getting pissed. And I was sitting there just like on my waters, had a couple of Cokes, just nervous, trying to plan my speech. And I think Mum filmed my speech, and everyone afterwards was like, "Yeah, well spoken, mate. Yeah, that was amazing. Well done." And then looking back at the video, and I was stuttering. I couldn't string words together. I was nervous, and just you could tell I was packing it up there.
Yeah. No.
So everyone was pretty nice to me, which was good.
So you overlooked in 2016 draft, BNF for Claremont, into the rookie draft. You get picked up by Fremantle in the rookie draft. What were your first kind of thoughts or impressions coming into the football club for that first pre-season?
Literally the very first thing I can think of is, for a start, when I actually walked in, everyone, like there's a lot of faces that come at you. There's 40-odd blokes, and everyone's in their casual kit, or like they don't have numbers on their back, and so it's just a bit of like eyes wide. Who is everyone? Like I really should know more names than I feel like I do right now. I knew the big boys, had Griff and Strats from the state team that I knew, but like a lot of the boys just went over my head, just deer in headlights panic. Couldn't remember anyone's name, so I just got by with mate for a little while. And then walking into the change room, I remember looking down and seeing these massive pairs of size 16s or 17s. And my foot was like, oh my God, whose shoes are they? I couldn't wrap my head around how big they were. And then brain started ticking, and about 3 seconds later went, oh,
Of course.
there's only one bloke.
Change room then for a second. So make your way in, and obviously, I think first 2 weeks I reckon it took to get in trouble for tackling Fifey when he had the red vest on. That's probably my favourite memory of your first pre-season, I reckon.
Yeah, there was about 3 times where I got in trouble. 2 I was innocent, and I was just the closest bloke. But yeah, so Fifey, one day I tackled him, and he was non-contact, or it was and Ross was really big on look after the big the big boys.
Mind you, he's non-contact, so he goes for like fend off, selling candy.
Yeah.
Like, what am I meant to do, mate?
Bursting through a stoppage, looking at $1 million,
Yeah.
which he probably does anyway, but this was especially easy for him. I think I've tackled him, got in trouble, took my medicine, went, yep, okay, no worries. The second time I've learnt my lesson. I'm just corralling him. So he's got it on the goal line, and he's running across the goal line. I'm just corralling him. He's not looking where he's going, looking at me, looking for a kick, whatever. Runs into the goalpost, gets up and gives me an absolute bait.
I gave you a bag for it.
And I was this little first year standing there going, oh, mate, I don't think that was my fault. Sort of like copped it from him. And then a few of the boys got around me saying, oh, mate, that's not your fault. So I got my confidence back up a bit like, yeah, he ran into the goalpost then.
Then you heard a screeching yell from the far pitch, probably.
Oh,
Ross.
yeah, and Ross. And the third time, Ross actually gave it to me. I think someone's absolutely clean Fifey up, and I've caught him on the way down. Mistake, because then I'm at the scene of the crime with my hands dirty, and Ross gave me the look, and he's stared me down and give me a spray, and I've gone into my shell again going, oh no. I don't think he knew my name at that point either.
You.
Yeah,
So he's clearly good at getting under people's skin, and that actually ended up kind of propelling you into your first role under Ross, which was tagging. And how'd you find that? You obviously spent the whole year in the midfield for Claremont. How'd you go about kind of just, following someone around and getting under their skin a bit?
Yeah, that was tough as well. I'm like my family and friends will tell you, I'm a pretty niggly bloke. I've got the poke gene, we call it in our family, where you just stare in the pot and annoying people. And so it comes in my nature a little bit. And I probably got a fairly easy ride into it. I tagged Aaron Hall in my first game as a tagger, and there's some blokes that fight through it and are really difficult to tag, and other blokes that sort of chalk it up as, it's going to be too tough today. And so in that first game, it was not the hardest job that I've ever done. So I sort of got my confidence up then, and I remember there was an article saying I should be All-Australian that week, and I was going, oh my God. Again, league footy's not that hard, is it? And then a couple of weeks later, you start getting touched up by the Tom Mitchells, Luke Shueys of the world, trying to tag Barrett training, and he's torturing me as well, and it all got a little bit harder from there.
And you've got Fife the non-contact to try and navigate as well, to try and tag him as well, but not touch him. And yeah, well, past that, obviously, hand off that torch, pass on the torch to whoever the taggers are out there. Now it's, you're hitting the scoreboard up forward, and touched on it before, but probably the best left foot snap in the comp, I think. In terms
can certainly turn at the most.
I think in terms of bending, it's is that something you've always practiced or always had in the bag, or?
Yeah, I've always, left footers. I don't really have much of a right foot. I'm always turning left. And the snap's always been something that's been in my repertoire. And then I've been working with Mark Lacroix over the last couple of pre-seasons. He's come down and he's probably taught me a little bit of craft around that snap as well. When to get them to bend, when to kick the straight one and that sort of thing. So that's probably definitely helped. And it's just a confidence thing as well. I feel like I've got the confidence now to back myself in and go for it, whereas maybe earlier days I didn't.
Was that one against St Kilda a couple of weeks ago? Left foot in, he obviously snapped a really nice goal, but it bent he kicked it maybe 40 metres, but it bent 30. It was no way that's going in.
The Richmond.
Was it Richmond? Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
That was good. That's a good bender.
The tying goal.
That's a proper good bender.
That bent a long way. And I wasn't sure it was going in until the last. You're sort of watching it and going, please keep going, please keep going, please keep going, and then just curled in.
I was right behind it, and my first thought was, set up, point or whatever. Here it comes, hang on, bending. Might need to pass that Mark Lacroix intel onto the big fella.
Oh yeah, it's going to take. Maybe just should have told me to take a few steps more back. probably would have been the first point of attack, but. Yeah. Can't
wait to see it. And earlier in the year, you've spoken about an irrational confidence and self-belief in yourself in order to push through that kind of in-out tagging, forward, defensive forward out, medi-stub role that you've kind of found yourself in over the last couple of years. How have you developed that?
This year's probably the first year. So obviously came up as a midfielder and played midfield early days, and then was playing as a pressure forward and stuff for the last couple of years. And I've played key forward for the last 2 years pretty much. And this year's probably the first year I've genuinely felt like a forward. My forward craft's gone to another level, and I feel really comfortable down there, and actually feel like I identify as a forward now as opposed to a midfielder. So that's probably a little bit of confidence. I'm playing in the right spot, and I'm playing in a spot that I'm enjoying. Not how can I get into the midfield or playing at Peel, biding my time to get into the midfield, that sort of thing.
Midfield's overrated, mate.
Yeah, no, I agree now. I wasn't always with you, but yeah, I'm with you now. And then, so the irrational confidence, I guess, in the face of results that aren't going my way. Like I think I've been Medisub 7 or 8 times, been dropped 5 or 6 of those times. So the results aren't necessarily going my way on the selection table, and sometimes playing the role I play as well, you don't get that many looks at the footy. So if you start focusing on, I've been dropped again this week, I'm Medisub again this week, then you don't have that confidence. And I've been playing footy the last couple of years probably where I haven't been playing with confidence, and that's really tough to do when you're out there. You're thinking, am I going to get dropped next week? Or all during the week you're thinking I'm going to get dropped. You're lining up for a set shot thinking I'm going to get dropped, or you miss a kick and you go, well, there goes my chances next week.
That'll do it.
That's
So it'll do it.
Yeah, that's a tough spot to be. Griff's been there before, where you just doubt yourself. So this year I've been able to sort of hang on to this core of confidence of my best is good enough. I'm bringing my best pretty regularly, and results might not be going my way on the selection table and things like that, but that's not in my control, and it's also not necessarily a lot to do with me. Like the big fellas come forward, the magnets get shuffled, and I've been the one that misses out, or Fifey's playing forward, things like that, which that's got nothing really to do with me. It's just about team balance, and we need an extra key forward there, or Fifey's got a role to play up forward, and I can't really argue with that either. So just being able to hold on to that, I guess, core of I'm good enough, and I'm able to play my best footy despite all that other noise, has given me a lot of confidence that, like, in the St Kilda game, I only found out I was playing 10 minutes before we ran out, coming on as a Medisub, half-time, three-quarter time, halfway through the last quarter, or even stressing all week, am I going to play, am I not, am I travelling, am I not, and then being able to still go out and perform. I feel like I've got a body of work now that I can look back on, a couple of good highlights in my saved in Instagram that I can go back and watch, a couple of bending snaps and that sort of thing.
Yeah, nice.
Which helps you sort of build that core confidence that is going to get weathered and picked at at times. Media, Facebook, comments, JL selection, that sort of thing, but keeping hold of that core confidence and not letting it get pulled and picked apart, which I have done previously.
Yep. That's a really healthy mindset. We'll move on to my section called Quick Hands in our podcast. Griff loves this one. He loves
quick hands so much.
So I'll fire out some quick questions to you, give us some quick responses, and the big fella will circle back to something that he notes and he takes interest in.
No worries.
Last time you called your mum?
I saw her on Sunday.
Called your mum was the question.
Called her all a while.
Last meal on earth, what would it be?
Ribs or roast pork.
Tomato sauce in the fridge or the pantry?
Pantry.
Pre-game routine?
Pretty loose. Always have pasta the night before.
Coffee of choice?
Long black.
How do you order your steak?
Medium rare.
Player from another club you like to watch?
Norton.
JL's favourite saying?
Banners, you Medisub again.
Best tasting music at the club?
Sam Switkowski.
Outside of footy, what's your dream job?
Gills.
Your first car?
Toyota Corolla.
Nice. Music or podcast in the car?
Podcast.
First emoji?
Crying, laughing.
First impression of Griff and myself?
Griff was just man-child, like playing school footy against him.
Hasn't changed, has he?
Nah, still exactly the same.
Still getting bigger as well.
I'm not going to argue with that because it's probably true. And Barra was just, you're a dad. You're the dad of the club, dad at home, and you're a good dad too.
Thanks, mate.
You are a good dad.
Thanks, mate.
What did you say then, Gills? What is it?
Gil McLaughlin.
Oh, Gills' job.
CEO.
Right. I don't think he's... think he's there anymore, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or he's stepping down at the end of the year.
Yeah, he's got a
And then
few
I'm taking
things
over.
to wrap up, and then Banner's going to take over.
Oh, well,
Tassie.
actually, the only man
CBAs.
at this table who else has stepped down at the end of the year is Dave.
Oh, hang on.
See you at the CEO job.
Update the resume and send it in.
Yeah, so you mentioned it a couple of times. You mentioned it then, but you've been Medi-Sub 6 or 7 or 8 times this year or whatever. So obviously not a great role. And for those who are unaware, if you don't get on in a game, or even if you do for a short section, you come into the rooms with everyone after the game, go into the team meeting, debrief, and then you're back out on the oval chugging out some Ks. What kind of any stories or funny memories from people hanging around, getting around you?
Yeah, I make sure I sing the song with the boys if we've got to win, because I'm like, I've sat on the bench, I've talked to the boys, communicating, I'm a part of this. I'm not going to go out and start my running until I've sung the song. And if we win, I go into the team meeting, and if we lose, I'll probably go out a little bit earlier and skip that bit. Probably, it really depends on how many people are left in the ground, if we've won or lost, and if we're home or away. You don't want to... If we're at home after a win is the best case. People are drunk. Like, the only people hanging around are the ones in the bars, and they're happy. So they're yelling out encouragement, advice, they're clapping you along, whatever else. If we're at home and we lose, then it can get a bit more pointed, or they might start pot-shotting you and like that sort of thing. If you're away and you've lost, then that's when they can get a bit nasty.
Yeah.
We had one in Geelong earlier this year. We got the win. Me and Carl Warner were running, and there was these voices, and because these voices are coming from miles away as well, you top tier.
Cowards, mate.
Yeah,
Cowards.
and they're echoing through the whole stadium. The stadium's empty except for 5 or 6 punters. I think there was 2 groups. There was a group of older ladies that were yelling some friendly advice, and I think they wanted us to take our shirts off and that sort of thing.
So you did, yeah.
Well, I encouraged Carl to, because as a younger player, you got to look after him. And this other group, I think they were betting on us, who was going to win the rep, who was going to win the run through. And Carl's a very, very good runner. So he was beating me most of them. And I heard this guy yelling out encouragement to Carl in one of these reps. And so the last 3 or 4 metres, I put a little burst on and just pipped him. And I just hear this bloke start swearing and abusing me, saying I've cost him money. And
The pokey gene, mate.
yeah, so I'm just giving these little fist pumps under the table going, that's a little win for me.
Yeah, nice. Gamble responsibly. Yeah. Now, let's move into Banner's Intel section. This is normally Griff's absolute strength, but I've put out some feelers as well this week, and
Barra has been good.
I've got to say, what we've got, I'm really excited to have a chat about. I'm really excited.
Should be good, yeah.
So one of the things that has come through, and it's been from all of our sources, is that you've always been a teacher's pet. You've always...
I've never had detention, I don't reckon.
Sat at the front, never had detention. And what we want to know, I guess, and what everyone wants to know is, has that translated to JL? Do you make him his little Nescafe coffees? And
Well, clearly not well enough.
It just needs time, maybe.
Yeah, probably not with JL that much, to be honest. Yeah, he's a bit too scary still.
And so
I think
teacher's
that's
pet in Scotch. At
Scarred
Scotch.
from Ross still.
Teacher's pet was Scotch. That was, prefect, Boy Scout,
Yep.
marching band,
Guilty.
all that kind of job. But there was one stat that I saw, I don't know where it's from, but you are an overachiever, would you admit, in school?
Consistent.
Consistently overachieving. Never had a test less than 90%.
Oh,
Confirmed. It's confirmed. I went and checked the
Confirmed,
records.
yeah.
But the other
through
one
them.
that is confirmed is top 5 AFL ATAR of all time. You're coming at number 4.
yeah, right. Oh, I think I actually saw that stat when it popped up, useless AFL stats. If you ask, Andrew Embley was my midfield coach at Claremont, and he's on the radio circuit now. He always tells people I got 99.95, which is a blatant lie.
No.
I'm
94,
going to give you a 98.25.
7.5, mate.
No,
98.75.
98.75.
Don't dog him like that, mate.
Yeah,
0.5.
sorry. Yeah, it's another 0.5 percentile you're missing out on.
Yeah.
So obviously, very, very, very well learned and stuff. I don't know if that's enough for the Ducks at Scotch. Though 98.75.
No, not quite. There was a few blokes nerdier than me, which, Yeah,
Says a
I'm
bit.
nerdy for a footy player, but I'm not full nerd.
I don't know.
98.75 is all right.
I don't think he's playing this week, but there is a man plays for the Bulldogs who was also in the top 5 of that ATAR.
Who's that?
That I remembered. Can anyone guess? He's big.
Will Minson.
Steph Martin.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
really? Yeah. Will Minson was a smart, man. Yeah.
Was he?
Yep. Very smart.
Well, Steph Martin was smarter.
Really? Crazy.
I believe you pipped him still though.
Nice work, Banners.
Nice.
Yes. That's
So
one
It's
win.
win number one
I'll
for the
give,
week.
So I'll give you that one. And on the theme of someone being just a little bit smarter than you, were you a bit stiff not to get captain of school?
Nah. I probably didn't want it, to be honest.
Whoa, hang on. That's
At the time, I reckon I did, but looking back on it, happy with. I was vice captain, and I was pretty happy with that. I think. Captain of school, too many speeches, too much me time up on stage. I was happy just sitting in the background a little bit.
But at the time, you didn't get it. Filthy, upset, disappointed.
No, I was stoked with what I got, I think.
Really?
Have you got mail that I was...
Well, all the mail that's came in has said that you were almost campaigning. Like you're on your little campaign trail. You wanted it, and you were flat as.
It was almost a trade school job. Like
Yeah.
you were that.
I was almost left scotch. No, I think that's a bit of mayo.
Right. I'm not sure who to believe. I think I know who to believe, but that's okay. Another one that we came in is you're currently in a relationship with your beautiful girlfriend, Julia. It's going really well. Instagram stories are looking and posts are looking really great.
Thanks,
but it all started through online. But the word is that you're interested early, but you had to wait for something in particular. Do you want to let us know what that is?
The message.
Well, yeah, so I'd been following her for a while, and then she's finally followed me back, and I was pumped. She's a very beautiful woman. I was super excited that I've got this follow back, and at this point I'm living in Preston Point with Switter and all the boys.
The Palace, yep.
And I'm going, boys, I've got this follow back from this beautiful woman. What do I do? So I've gone super creative, sent her a DM, hey. That was all I could come up with, just stock standard, hey, nailed it. And I was like, okay, here we go. And I'm sitting there waiting for her to respond. And there was just crickets. And then as the hours pass, sort of start losing hope. And I was over 24 hours. Actually, might have been a couple of days, and I've sort of just chalked it up as an L in my head. Like, shot my shot, didn't come off. I'm happy. I had to do it, but it's okay that it didn't work. And then she's actually responded like 2 or 3 days later, which I was stoked with. Took her out for dinner like later that week, and she's been smitten with me ever since.
It's a happy ending. And we've heard it's a happy ending that started with a blue tick.
Yeah, I think that definitely would have helped.
You've waited. You said you followed her on Instagram.
Oh, I might have unfollowed and refollowed.
Once you got the blue tick, I reckon.
So for those young guys out there looking for some love, that's
Smart.
key.
Wait for the blue tick.
Now, we asked you before about who's got the best taste in music, and you answered with Swit or Kowsk, certainly not Kov.
Not Cov.
And so he's good and you're bad.
Yeah.
Is that right? I don't quite agree because we've got your favourite song here, and I'm with you on this one, actually.
I like
don't
what I
quite agree.
like,
That is a good song.
and I'm pretty happy with like my music. It's probably a bit soppy. Olivia Rodrigo, Taylor Swift. Yeah, I can't do much rap or like the heavy metal, like no interest.
Favourite song?
Song's got to have words in it.
Your favourite song of all time?
Kickapoo, Tenacious D.
Tenacious D, we had that. That's good intel.
Yeah, that's from Scotch Boarding House.
Yeah.
Just used to like, the boys are just like, we do a hike as part of the boarding experience, and we just sing it, no music, just in the bush, 30 blokes just singing. It's probably been my favourite song ever since.
You can now if you like. You want to?
Well, there's a few swear words in it.
That's all right. Brick can beat them out.
Beat them out.
We can always beat them out. Is your we touched on fashionista as well. Is your dress sense as bad as your music taste, or is it?
Yeah, probably.
What's it got? Like, what's what kind of bad are we talking to? Like, you don't care, or you try, but it's not good? Like,
No,
your
I don't,
choices are
I don't
poor?
really care. If we're going somewhere nice, I'll ask. He's looking at my shorts under the table. I've worn my Freo ones.
Always coming with the shorts, yeah.
I'll ask Jules if I'm leaving the house and like I need to look okay. I'm like, thumbs up, thumbs down. More often than not, it's a thumbs down. I've got my combinations that I know that I've got a previous thumbs up for. So like,
Yeah.
but my range is pretty limited.
What's your confidence levels in yourself if you're going to the shops and you need to buy some new kit? What's the confidence levels in yourself to be able to pull that off?
Horrific.
It's a chaperone job, isn't it? You need.
Yeah, it's FaceTime, ask mates.
Yeah.
What do you reckon, boys? And sometimes they steer me true. Sometimes it's a bit of a stitch up.
Giggling in the good background. That looks good.
Mum bought me some bright red pants, like really bright, like out there. So I think I must get it from her. She thought they were a good idea, and I've worn them into the club one day, thinking it was a good idea. Got that many stares
I've
and
seen those ones.
winces. I don't know where I've hidden them. I haven't seen them for a while because I think that was the one time I wore them. And Mum was flat at me because I took the tag off to wear them. She's like, now I can't return them.
Thanks.
You can never not wear a present from mum though.
No.
Yeah.
And it needs to be done.
You got to try it out for the,
Yeah.
and then you
It's
get
the
the feedback.
thought that
And
matters. You can never tell them though. You just can't tell them like, sorry mum, I don't like that.
No.
I don't think I've ever told my mum, sorry mum, can't wear that. I'm not going to
well, I
wear it.
might have just told her in front of
Yeah.
everyone.
Thousands,
sorry,
thousands,
Mum.
millions of listeners as well.
Millions.
And so around the house, are you a handyman? Do you get out in the garden? Got a bit of a green thumb or not?
I did for a little bit and probably pumped myself up too much. During the COVID lockdowns, I was getting right into my gardening, had got a couple of like little planting beds, so I pulled out all the sandy soil, put some of the Bunnings, did a couple of big Bunnings shops, filled up the car.
Greatest store in the world, Bunnings.
Yeah, oh, amazing. And then the interest has waned since then, so
Last time you mowed your lawns?
my mower's broke.
Oh, sure.
So I've been whippersnipping my lawns, which I got pulled up on last time. A few boys came over and Mitchy crowed and gave me a spray because it was like a wonky haircut. There was different levels and it was all a bit all over the shop.
It's funny you say your lawnmower's broken. Can you confirm or deny that when Toby Watson and Sam Sturt live with you, you charge them extra cash or extra rent to add into the lawnmower repairs?
That's a yes.
I think that's a yes.
I don't think I did. I think one of the boys might have picked up some oil or something for me one day from the shops. But I don't. Well, if I charge them for the repairs, I might need to charge them some more
A
because
lawnmower service.
it didn't work.
Put it on split wires, lads.
Toby kept promising me that his old man was going to come around. They'd got a Jim's
Old man
mowing.
runs Jim's mowing. And
Kept promising they were going to come around and look after me, and that never happened. So
that's great.
Speaking of hands-on chores, before you were coming to the club today, did you squirt a bit of like car cleaning stuff on the top of your car with the rain that's come through?
I think the hail does that for you, doesn't it?
That's right.
So you've never washed your car?
Yeah, I had to think about it. Probably not. I've vacuumed inside a couple of times, but
Never rolled the sleeves up, got the hose out, had a
No.
wash?
I've asked Jules to do it a couple of times when she's out doing
When
her
was the
car.
last time you washed your car yourself, actually, champ?
I used to wash Dad's when I was little. He'd pay us $10, but I think that
Yeah.
might have scarred me.
Have you not? You don't wash your car?
Do you wash yours? I asked you.
I haven't recently, but I have this
all right
year.
then, you're throwing stones.
Yeah, geez, you know.
You haven't washed yours? No, I know you answered yours. Your car's disgusting.
The silver bullet.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Put some respect on the silver bullet.
But I haven't been in it for a while. But last time I was in it, it wasn't a pleasant experience.
Yeah, well, don't ask for a lift then. You can walk next time.
And some of the extracurricular stuff that you do, you're working upstairs at the club. You've been doing that for a little while now. And do you want to talk us through that role?
Yeah, I'm the sustainability officer now. So I've been working upstairs with a few of the guys on the club's sustainability and how we can improve and both our social impact and also our environmental impact.
Surely it's just the solar panels job, isn't it?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of solar panels up there.
Yeah.
So we've come up with anchoring a sustainable future, which is our plan. It's a bit of a look back into our history as what we've done previously in the space, as well as got some goals and targets for the future. And the current project I'm working on, which is in that report as well, is measuring our current emissions for the club, so all of our travel, hotel stays, what the facility uses, some of the functions and events that we put on, what the electricity, food, that sort of stuff, what the emissions are from those. From there, we'll come up with a number and look to reduce and minimise some of those emissions, eliminate what we can, and then hopefully look to start offsetting some of it so that we can get closer to carbon neutral and eventually, hopefully, net zero as well, which is sort of the way the world's trending at the moment. So I think if we as a footy club can get there a little bit earlier than most people, I'll be proud that we've done our bit.
What's a press conference cost on the emissions scale?
Sorry, mate.
You had one yesterday.
Well, I try to be really quick, but I
Selfish.
kept asking me questions.
Selfish, mate. Selfish.
Making everyone
you up.
drive all the way to Coburn as well. When you
Sums you up as a
them.
bloke, mate. Other one we've got for you, mate, is sci-fi fantasy reads. You love your books there, and then it's an early night to bed, isn't it, for you?
Yeah, I'm a big reader. Always try to read a little bit before bed. Stay off the phone just before bed, read, and then knock off. Me and Barra have been passing books around for the last couple of years. Very similar taste, I think. Have you finished Wheel of Time yet?
No.
That was the last. So I've passed on one to Barra. I'm a pretty quick reader. I've got a lot more spare time on my hands than the old fella. So I've gone, Dave, this is a great series. Have a crack at this. He's gone, oh, sounds good. It's a 16 booker.
Yeah, I'm book 8, I reckon.
And they're all massive books and quite dense as well.
Yeah.
So he's still working his way through that.
Yeah, I'm getting through it. Some of your favourites? What's some of your absolute favourite reads you've been through?
Stormlight Archive, which Dave put me onto. Aragon's one of the all-time favourites from when I was younger. Genghis Khan series by Con Eagleton, like historical fiction. Love the Harry Potters growing up as well. But yeah, anything with magic and dragons and stuff is sort
Sorcery.
of I'm happy with.
It's a nice escape, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very nice, mate.
And so this week we've got the dogs under the roof. The big fella will take a couple of steps further back off the mark. Bailey will come back in and curl them around like Shane Warne used to. That'd be great. But what are you looking forward to the most, Griff?
Just, no rain under the roof.
It's always nice,
no
isn't it?
brainer as a forward, mate. You just pray for no rain. As a back, you're praying for rain, but no rain. Going to enjoy it. Should be a good, 6th v 10th on the ladder. Both, seasons on the line. Regardless, every game back into this year is more and more important. So, how good's footy?
How good. And this week the doggies will be in their retro kit. They've labelled the Robo Dog. Have you seen it?
Yeah, they've got a collar as well, don't they?
I think so, yeah.
It looks
Good.
pretty cool.
More things to grab when I'm chasing out the V50.
Yeah, a nice woolen
Horse
jumper with
horse
a collar.
collar.
Yeah, that's right. Is that legal? Can you grab someone from the collar or not really?
No, it'd be high, wouldn't it?
Can you grab them from the back of the,
No, I don't think. I don't think.
Yeah.
Can you do that or not?
If you just hold them, you might be able to, but if you rip them down, I reckon they might
If
pay
you were just to grab
dangerous
them
tackle.
and wrench them forward, what about forward?
No, I don't think so.
Can't.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, well.
I don't know. Speaking of kits, we had Adam Reid inspired and organised a junior club.
Yeah, that was great.
What were some of your favourites?
Switter's club was called the Researchers or the Searchers or something.
Saw that.
That was bizarre. And they had a bulldog as their logo, and they're the Searchers. I don't know what was going on there. There were some other ones.
Somebody-
I like Kari's Gamelling kit. That
Yep.
was cool.
Gamelling
Big-
Goannas.
The big V.
Somebody had a Bombers jumper, but they were the Demons. The club was the Demons.
I think it was who got stabs at Slate Gross Bombers?
No,
Borrowed
no,
from Fifey.
no, it wasn't the
There
Bombers.
was another one.
Can't recall who
Charlotte
it was.
had a Perth Demons
Demons.
on.
Yeah, but it was like the
Could have been Jim, actually.
Essendon, but their mascot was the Demons.
Yeah.
So I was
It was
looking at
bold.
that and it was like hurting my brain.
It was bold wearing a Demons kit
Yeah,
after the week.
hurt a little bit. But,
Yeah.
Feel the room, lads. Time and place.
All right. Well, I reckon that's enough for today. Thank you, Banners, for coming on. How did you go?
Thanks
How'd you
for having
feel?
Enjoyed it.
It was great to have you, mate. You did really well.
Cheers, thank you.
I believe our intel, not your excuses and trying to avoid that.
The
but-
blue tick. Thanks again. And I think he's glossed over it quickly. He doesn't want to farewell himself. But, mate, it's been a massive week for you, Barra. And Banners and I grew up in Perth and grew up watching Purple, watching Freo. And your name's always up there, mate. So it's going to go down as one of the the all-timers, and it's very sad to see it go. But you should be very, very happy with what you've done with the place, and thanks again for that, mate. Good on you.
Thank you.
Hopefully we get those 6 more wins
I was
for
going
you.
to say 6 more wins.
Six more
Thank
wins,
you.
mate.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.